Little Red Riding Hood, recreated by Werner Stejskal. In a charming village, nestled in the heart of a dense forest, Little Red Riding Hood lived with her loving mother and father. Her mother was a skilled baker, renowned for her delicious pastries and cookies. Little Red Riding Hood's father was a woodworker, crafting beautiful furniture and wooden toys. One sunny afternoon, Little Red Riding Hood's mother asked her to visit her sick grandmother, who lived on the other side of the forest. Grandmother had been feeling unwell, and Mother wanted to ensure she had everything she needed. Little Red Riding Hood, please take this basket of freshly baked cookies and visit Grandmother, Mother said, handing her a wicker basket filled with treats. Make sure to be careful on your journey and don't talk to strangers. Little Red Riding Hood set off on her journey, wearing her red cloak and carrying the basket. She walked through the village, waving goodbye to her friends and neighbors. As she entered the forest, the trees grew taller, and the path grew narrower. As she walked deeper into the forest, Little Red Riding Hood encountered a sly and cunning wolf. The wolf, with ill intentions, approached her with a charming smile. "Where are you headed, little one?" the wolf asked, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "I'm visiting my sick grandmother," Little Red Riding Hood replied, unaware of the wolf's true nature. The wolf, with a plan in mind, bid Little Red Riding Hood farewell and rushed to Grandmother's cottage ahead of her. He tricked Grandmother, tying her up and hiding her in the closet. Then he disguised himself as Grandmother, waiting for Little Red Riding Hood's arrival. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage, the wolf, dressed as Grandmother, greeted her. Little Red Riding Hood noticed something was off, but couldn't quite put her finger on it. "Grandmother, what big ears you have!" Little Red Riding Hood exclaimed. "The better to hear you, my dear," the wolf replied, trying to maintain his disguise. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have! The better to see you." "Grandmother, what big arms you have! The better to hug you." But when Little Red Riding Hood asked about Grandmother's big teeth, the wolf's disguise faltered. "They're better to eat you," the wolf growled, revealing his true identity. Just as the wolf was about to pounce, a brave woodcutter appeared at the door. He had been chopping wood nearby and heard Little Red Riding Hood's screams. "Ah, you wicked wolf!" the woodcutter exclaimed, locking the wolf up and releasing the grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood was overjoyed to see her grandmother safe and sound. "Thank you, kind woodcutter," Grandmother said, hugging Little Red Riding Hood tightly. Little Red Riding Hood returned home, where her mother and father awaited her arrival with open arms. "Mother, I learned a valuable lesson today," Little Red Riding Hood said, hugging her mother tightly. "What's that, dear?" Mother asked. Always be cautious when talking to strangers, and never trust someone with big teeth.